Imagine diving into the abyss where the ocean floor refuses to stay put. These are the roaming underwater dunes, colossal waves of sand that creep across the seabed at a snail's pace, sometimes just centimeters a day. Driven by relentless deep currents, they swallow entire coral gardens and spit out barren wastelands in their wake. What looks like lifeless desert from above hides a pulsing world below. Have you ever wondered if the ground beneath your feet could betray you, shifting silently while you sleep? Scientists call them Barkhan dunes, crescent-shaped wanderers that migrate for centuries. Picture a mountain range that's alive, reshaping the seafloor like a slow-motion avalanche. No rock anchors here, just endless golden ripples under crushing pressure. But here's the eerie part. These dunes don't just move. They seem to breathe with hidden life. As we descend, a chill sets in, because stability is an illusion in this nomadic realm. Zoom closer now, and the first whispers of life emerge from the drifting grains. Microscopic algae cling desperately to sand particles, photosynthesizing in faint light that barely penetrates the depths. These tiny pioneers form slimy biofilms, the dune's fragile skin against erosion. Currents rip them away only for others to take root, an eternal cycle of birth and annihilation. Isn't it terrifying how something so small battles forces that could bury cities? Filter-feeding bacteria swarm in the turbulence, siphoning nutrients from the chaos. They glow faintly bioluminescent, like stars trapped in sediment. Evolution forced them to adapt or perish in this conveyor belt of doom. One strong surge, and their world vanishes, reset like a cosmic game. Yet they persist, painting the dunes with invisible vitality that hints at greater mysteries buried deeper. As the dune crests, larger inhabitants reveal themselves in a frenzy of adaptation. Worm-like creatures burrow helical tunnels, stabilizing the sand just enough to survive the slide. Their bodies secrete mucus that binds grains like living glue, defying the pull of the abyss. Watch them writhe in slow motion, pulsing with iridescent veins. What drives such ingenuity in perpetual motion? Jelly polyps float atop the dune, mining methane from below and exhaling bubbles that rise like ghostly signals. Crustaceans with serrated legs sift the flow, harvesting plankton mid-drift. These dune dwellers don't fight the movement. They ride it, evolving fins into anchors and eyes into vibration sensors. The horror creeps in when you realize their home could drag them into oxygen voids. Still, they thrive, turning instability into their greatest strength. Deeper we plunge, where light fades and shadows thicken beneath the dune's belly. Here, the sand vibrates subtly, as if the mountain harbors a heartbeat. Hidden chambers pulse with colonies of sensory parasites, blind horrors that sense tremors from afar. They latch onto passing prey, injecting paralytics that dissolve flesh into slurry. Can you feel the dune shuddering under invisible footsteps? Apex burrowers emerge at night, massive isopods with mandibles like scythes, feasting on the fallen. The entire structure groans, sand avalanching to seal their lairs. Bioluminescent lures flicker, drawing victims into crushing embraces. Evolution birthed nightmares perfectly tuned to this drifting hell. Press on because the true architect waits in the core, whispering secrets of the deep. Suddenly, the dune reveals its underbelly. Vast microbial mats sprawling like neural networks. These ancient bacteria mats fuel everything, pumping chemicals that sustain the food web. Over eons, they evolved to propel the dune forward, symbiotic engines of motion. Glowing filaments thread through the sand, veins of eerie light in pitch black. How did lifeless microbes become the puppet masters of mountains? They release gases that lighten the dune, aiding its roam across barren plains. Predators and prey alike depend on this hidden pulse, a collective organism disguised as geology. The mild horror dawns. The dune isn't just moving, it's migrating with purpose. Nutrient cycles whirl eternally, defying the static world above. Life here isn't surviving chaos, it's orchestrating it. Picture the dune's journey spanning millennia, carving paths through submarine canyons. It engulfs shipwrecks, entombing them in golden tombs, only to exhume bones centuries later. Explorers' submersibles have captured footage of these wanderers reshaping canyons overnight. What ancient ecosystems does it devour and rebirth? Fossils trapped within telltales of bygone eras, compressed into time capsules. The dunes' pace mocks human lifespans, a reminder of geological indifference. Yet within, evolution accelerates, birthing species in fast forward. Subtle tremors hint at internal wars, colonies clashing for dominance. Drift closer, and the mystery thickens. Faint calls echo through the sand, communications beyond our grasp. The ocean floor pulses alive, indifferent to our awe. Now imagine standing atop this beast as it crests a ridge, unveiling abyssal vistas. Bioluminescent trails mark its path, like comet tails in the deep. Creatures leap between dunes in nomadic herds, chasing fertile wakes. Isn't the adaptability mind-bending, turning curse into cradle? Horror lingers in the voids left behind, sterile scars haunting the seafloor. But new life sprouts swiftly, recolonizing the trail. This roaming mountain embodies nature's ruthless ingenuity. Questions swirl. Could such biomes exist on alien worlds? Scientists speculate similar dunes on Europa's icy depths. The dune whispers of infinities, where motion begets marvels. As our dive ends, the dune fades into the gloom, continuing its eternal pilgrimage. It challenges everything we know about habitats, proving life conquers the unconquerable. Feel the subtle dread of vast unknowns beneath our waves. What other moving mountains lurk undiscovered? Evolution on these roamers redefines resilience, blending beauty with the uncanny. They remind us the ocean hides horrors and wonders in equal measure. Gaze into the abyss, and it gazes back, shifting sands concealing secrets. The wandering sea mountains endure, silent sentinels of adaptation's triumph. Next time you beachcomb, ponder the drifters below. Life on moving mountains, a symphony of suspense in the deep. Welcome back to the shifting kingdom, where chaos reigns supreme on these roaming underwater dunes. Picture a world in constant flux, sand grains tumbling like an endless avalanche under the sea's unyielding grip. Deep currents propel these colossal forms forward, erasing landscapes in their path while birthing new ones from the void. Life here doesn't just endure. It dances on the edge of oblivion, adapting in ways that defy our wildest dreams. Have you ever felt the ground tremble beneath you, whispering of impending doom? Microscopic warriors emerge first, algae colonies latching onto fleeting particles with desperate tenacity. They form biofilms, slick veils that shield against the abrasive torrent. Yet one rogue surge can strip them bare, leaving only echoes of their struggle. This is evolution's brutal forge, where fragility births ferocity. Dive deeper, and the mystery unfolds in the turbulence. These pioneer algae photosynthesize in the dim twilight zone, capturing scant photons before darkness claims all. Their cells swell with sugars, fueling a frenzy of division amid the drift. Currents batter them relentlessly, yet they regenerate, roots probing for any stable nook. Isn't it haunting how such teeniness confronts cosmic forces? Filter feeders join the fray, bacteria with feathery appendages sifting nutrients from the chaos. They pulse bioluminescent signals, faint beacons in the sediment storm. Evolution sculpted them for this nomadic hell, bodies flexible as whispers against the grind. One moment anchored, the next hurled into the abyss, only to reclaim their perch. The dune becomes a conveyor of life and death, grains carrying passengers to unknown fates. Horror simmers in their silent perseverance, a testament to nature's cruel ingenuity. Envision the dune's crest, a golden wave cresting slowly through millennia. Here, the first multicellular rebels appear, polyps with gelatinous forms that undulate in sync with the flow. They exhale tiny methane bubbles, propelling themselves like spectral balloons across the shifting expanse. What secrets do these bubbles carry from the depths below? Crustacean scavengers scuttle sideways, exoskeletons etched with flow-resistant ridges. Their legs fan out, harvesting plankton swept in the dune's wake. These creatures don't resist motion. They harness it, fins evolved into hydrodynamic sails. A sudden acceleration buries the unwary, turning allies into feasts. The kingdom pulses with this rhythm, beauty laced with peril. Subtle dread builds as shadows hint at hungrier forms lurking near. Beneath the surface frenzy, worm-like tunnelers carve helical paths through the sand. Their mucus secretions bind grains into fragile lattices, momentary bastions against erosion. Bodies iridescent and elongated, they writhe in perpetual motion, sensing vibrations through fluid-filled canals. Can you imagine burrowing blindly into a world that betrays you at every turn? These architects stabilize just enough to breed, eggs hatching into the flow. Currents test their works, collapsing tunnels in thunderous silence. Survivors adapt faster, secreting stronger glues derived from devoured kin. The dune groans under their labors, a living entity shaped by infestation. Mystery thickens with each collapse, revealing layers of frantic innovation. Life here is a high-stakes gamble, fragility forged into fleeting fortresses. Now feel the emotional pull of these dune-dwellers' plight, nomads in an uncaring sea. Jelly miners drift in schools, burrowing briefly to tap chemical riches, then fleeing before burial. Their translucent bells glow with symbiotic bacteria, illuminating paths through the murk. How does one evolve trust in a home that devours its own? Predatory opportunists shadow them, amphipod horrors with needle claws poised for the falter. One slip and the victim dissolves into chum for the current. Evolution accelerates here, generations flashing by in years. The shifting kingdom breeds monsters from the meek, all mingling with unease. Bioluminescent trails mark their battles, ghostly scars on the sand. Press on, for the true chaos lies in adaptation's unforgiving embrace. Consider the broader horror. Entire ecosystems reborn and raised in a dune's passage. Barren wakes trail behind, sterile voids haunting the seafloor like fresh graves. Yet pioneers recolonize swiftly, spores riding currents to the next crest. Isn't this cycle eerily poetic? Destruction seeding renewal? Sensory organs evolve supreme, creatures blind yet seeing tremors from afar. They cluster in vibrating hives, communicating through substrate pulses. Arrival dunes approach sparks migrations, herds fleeing the collision. Sand avalanches claim stragglers, their cries lost in the deep. The kingdom thrives on this brink, mystery veiled in motion's veil. Life's tenacity shines, tempered by terror's shadow. Zoom out to grasp the scale. Dunes spanning kilometers, kingdoms unto themselves. Microbes underpin it all, mats exhaling gases that lighten the load for drift. They symbiosis with algae, trading energy for protection in the grind. What ancient pact forged this alliance in the abyss? Larger forms prey on the weak, culling failures to sharpen the herd. Nightfall intensifies the hunt, dunes accelerating as if awakened. Echoes of chittering reverberate through grains, a symphony of survival. Evolution's hand is heavy here, sculpting horrors from happenstance. Curiosity burns. How many undiscovered realms shift below? The shifting kingdom beckons, promising revelations wrapped in dread. As tension peaks, realize this chaos breeds unparalleled diversity. Creatures leap between dunes in synchronized waves, chasing nutrient plumes. Their forms blur beauty and nightmare, fins fuse to filters, eyes to echolocators. Does stability bore evolution, while motion ignites genius? Horror fades into reverence for life's relentless drive. These wanderers redefine home as horizon, not haven. Questions linger. What cataclysms birthed such ingenuity? Scientists glimpse them via submersibles, footage chilling in its alien grace. The dune's kingdom endures, a microcosm of oceanic enigma. Gaze upon the drift, and feel the pull of unknowns astir. Descend with me into the architects of instability, where the dune's restless heart beats with engineered defiance. These roaming underwater mountains demand builders from evolution's forge, creatures that don't merely survive but sculpt their shifting doom. Worm-like tunnelers emerge first, sinuous bodies carving helical labyrinths through the golden chaos. Their mucus binds grains into fleeting fortresses, resisting the current's merciless pull. Have you pondered how fragility forges mastery in the abyss? Jelly-like float miners pulse atop the crests, exhaling methane ghosts that buoy their ethereal forms. Bizarre crustaceans with serrated exoskeletons sift the flow, turning abrasion into abundance. Translucent skins glow faintly, veins tracing hypnotic rhythms in the dim. This is no passive clinging. It's active dominion over drift. Mystery stirs as their labors hint at deeper designs unseen. Envision the tunnelers' dance, elongated forms writhing in synchronized burrows that spiral like ancient screws. Secretions harden instantly, weaving sand into living mortar against erosion's tide. Vibrations guide them, fluid canals sensing the dune's every tremor from afar. What ancient instinct compels such precision in perpetual peril? They stabilize flanks just enough for eggs to hatch, larvae tumbling into the flow for instant trials. Collapses claim the weak, avalanching tombs sealing failures below. Survivors evolve thicker glues, feasting on kin to fuel adaptation's fire. The dune hums with their industry, a colossal engine oiled by infestation. Horror whispers in the groans of shifting mass, architecture born of desperation. Press closer, for the surface shapers await their cue. Now meet the float miners, gelatinous orbs drifting like cursed lanterns on the dune's brow. They burrow briefly, siphoning methane from sediment pores with proboscis tongues. Bubbles rise in eerie chains, lightning loads and signaling kin across the void. Can evolution craft such symbiosis from nothingness? Crustacean allies harvest their exhaust, trading protection for nutrient scraps in the frenzy. Bodies undulate in hypnotic waves, bells contracting to propel against the surge. One falter invites burial, flesh dissolving into the beast they tame. Iridescent hues flicker, bioluminescent warnings to predators below. These architects weave the dune's skin, fragile yet formidable. Subtle dread builds as night falls, accelerating their fevered toil. Crustaceans scuttle the slopes, exoskeletons ridged like ancient armor against the grind. Legs fan into sieves, plucking plankton from turbulent wakes with surgical grace. They anchor with hooked setae, riding slides like surfers on doom's edge. Isn't it chilling how beauty masks brutality in the deep? Fins fuse to filters, eyes to seismic gauges detecting rivals approach. Colonies form living buttresses, spines interlocking to halt erosion's creep. Predators test their walls, claws scraping for weakness in the night. Evolution hones them razor-sharp, molts revealing ever-tougher shells. The dune rises under their siege, a monument to instability's masters. Shadows lengthen, promising revelations in the underbelly. Feel the emotional surge of these dune shapers' saga, nomads forging homes from hostility. Tunnelers pulse chemical beacons, summoning miners to vulnerable crests for joint reinforcement. Methane veils their works, toxic shrouds repelling foes while fueling growth. How does trust bloom in betrayal's cradle? Entire spires emerge overnight, hollowed hives buzzing with larvae swarms. Currents probe seams, collapses echoing like thunder in the silence. Rebuilders swarm instantly, mucus floods sealing breaches with frantic zeal. Horror simmers in their ceaseless vigil, lives measured in moments of stability. Awe dawns at nature's alien ingenuity, sculpting order from oceanic anarchy. Deeper layers call where true instability reigns. Picture collisions between dunes, architects scrambling as masses grind in slow cataclysm. Tunnelers redirect flows, helical vents exhaling barriers of silted fury. Floaters balloon upward, scouting safe merges with bubble Morse code. What cataclysms birthed such cooperative genius? Crustaceans bridge gaps, chitin cables spanning chasms to unify the beast. Buried rivals emerge as zombies, feasting on fresh flesh in vengeful raids. Evolution accelerates, mutants rising from rubble with enhanced senses. The dune merges stronger, a Frankenstein of sands and wills. Mystery thickens with hybrid forms, glowing amalgams pulsing new life. Night's embrace intensifies the symphony, chittering commands through substrate veins. Zoom to the macro marvel. Spires towering like cathedrals in the abyss, latticed with architect layers. Microbial symbionts underpin it all, mats trading gases for shelter in the grind. They propel minor shifts, aiding the grand migration across seafloors. Does the dune dream through these proxies, alive in engineered motion? Predatory scouts patrol rims, scythe limbs pruning flaws for perfection. Bioluminescent maps guide reinforcements, trails like neural fire in the dark. Rival colonies clash in proxy wars, avalanches weapons of mass denial. Life's horror beauty shines, fragility flipped to ferocity. Curiosity ignites. What undreamt structures lurk undiscovered? The architects endure, sentinels of sculpted suspense. As their realm stabilizes briefly, ponder the cost of such dominion in the drifting deep. Generations flash by, innovations stacking like sedimentary lore. Floaters evolve sails from bells, harnessing currents for precise placements. Tunnelers deepen spirals, tapping geothermal warmth for energy surges. Crustaceans birth broods armored from birth, legions ready for eternal war. Isn't this evolution's pinnacle, turning curse to canvas? Mild terror lingers in the voids they fill, ghosts of failures haunting grains. Yet reverence swells for their uncanny grace, masters of the unmalleable. Questions echo. Could humanity learn from these abyssal engineers? The dune stands taller, whispering of infinities shaped by will alone. Plunge now into shadows beneath the dunes, where light surrenders to an oppressive gloom. The dune's underbelly conceals horrors that stir only when the world above quiets. Sand vibrates with subtle menace, as if the mountain harbors forbidden secrets in its depths. Hidden hives pulse with predatory life, colonies awakening to the night's embrace. Have you ever sensed eyes upon you in absolute dark, waiting patiently? The entire structure seems to breathe, expansions and contractions betraying the frenzy below. Currents hush above, but below they whisper invitations to doom. Evolution crafted nightmares here, perfectly attuned to the drifting abyss. Claustrophobia grips as walls of sand close in eternally. Deeper we go into the heart of unspoken terror. Envision the sensory parasites first, eyeless abominations slithering through granular veins. They ride the dune's motion like nomadic phantoms, tentacles quivering for vibrations. Prey disturbs the sediment, and they surge, latching with barbed maws that inject paralytic venom. Flesh liquefies in agony, slurped through hollow needles into insatiable gullets. What primal fear drives such silent hunters in endless night? Bodies translucent yet armored, glowing faintly with devoured bioluminescence. They detach at dawn, burrowing into stasis till hunger calls anew. The dune becomes their endless hunting ground, motion delivering victims unbidden. Horror builds in their patient ambush, lives measured by tremors. Shadows thicken, promising larger beasts in the core. Massive apex burrowers dominate the lower realms, isopod titans with scythe mandibles gleaming. They emerge under cover of accelerated drift, dunes quickening as if fleeing their own spawn. Tunnels collapse behind them, sealing lairs with thunderous finality. Victims crunch in jaws evolved for armored prey, shells cracking like brittle thunder. Can the deep birth such colossi from sand's humble grains? Carapaces etched with sensory pits detect heartbeats through meters of sediment. They hoard chambers stocked with paralyzed livestock, breeding in foul nurseries. The structure groans under their mass migrations, avalanches hurting the weak. Mild dread seeps as bioluminescent lures flicker invitations. Night's symphony crescendos with their chittering feasts. Feel the claustrophobic pulse now, sand pressing like a living tomb on all sides. Parasites coordinate via chemical plumes, swarms converging on disturbance ripples. Afloat minor falters, and they engulf it, dissolving symphony of slurps echoing softly. How does isolation breed such hive-mind atrocities? Burrowers clash in territorial wars, limbs severing in sprays of hemolymph that attract scavengers. Wounds seal with sand grafts, evolution's hasty patches. The dune accelerates erratically, currents stirred by subterranean strife. Entire levels shift, burying losers in granular graves. Emotional chill descends, awe tainted by the uncanny. Press through the veil, for revelations lurk in suffocating silence. Picture the dune at midnight, surface serene while innards roil with shadowed frenzy. Lures dangle from overhangs, hypnotic pulses mimicking safe havens above. Naive crustaceans approach, drawn into crushing maws that snap shut instantly. Isn't this deception evolution's cruelest art? Parasites ride the slain downward, depositing husks to enrich lower strata. Apex guardians patrol borders, vibrations warning of dune collisions ahead. Mergers birth hybrid horrors, forms twisting in genetic frenzy. Sand boils with escapees, only to be recaptured in the chaos. Mystery veils their communications, faint pulses like coded dread. Horror simmers in the orchestrated hunt, life fueling larger life. Deeper still, chambers expand into cathedral voids, lit by chemical glows from microbial slaves. Here, queens brood clutches of parasites, eggs hatching into instant predators. Burrowers tend fungal gardens on corpses, trading meat for toxins that sharpen stings. What ancient symbiosis forged this underworld economy? Currents infiltrate fissures, delivering fresh prey to waiting arms. Walls undulate with digestion, dunes belly gurgling softly. Scouts venture upward, infiltrating architect colonies for sabotage. Collapses engineered from within, harvesting the fallen in avalanches. The mild terror peaks in this interdependence of doom. Questions echo. Are we witnessing a superorganism's bowels? Zoom to the intimate horror. A single vibration ripples through, awakening the hive. Parasites uncoil in unison, tendrils questing like blind serpents. Prey freezes, but pulses betray its panic to eager senses. Latch, inject, dissolve. The cycle renews in wet silence. Burrowers sense the feast, lumbering to claim tribute from lesser kin. Fights erupt over scraps, limbs flying in confined carnage. Survivors gorge, shells swelling grotesquely before molt. The dune shudders approval, shifting to expose new veins. Emotional undertone tugs. Pity for the devoured, reverence for the devourers. Subtle awe amid the gore, nature's balance in brutality. As shadows coalesce, ponder if the dunes themselves are the ultimate creature. Predators propel its wanderings, excavations lightning loads for swift migration. Gases from digestion buoy the mass across barren plains. Could motion be their heartbeat, hunts their breath? Night wanes, and they retreat, leaving eerie stillness scarred by trenches. Dawn currents smooth the evidence, readying for tomorrow's drift. Life above resumes oblivious, fed by underbelly's toll. Horror lingers in the realization. Beauty rests on buried nightmares. Curiosity burns for undiscovered depths below. The shadows beneath whisper eternal, guardians of the dune's dark soul. Reveal now the living landscape at the dune's pulsating core, where symbiosis unveils the grand design. Vast microbial mats sprawl like neural webs, ancient bacteria fueling the entire nomadic empire. Over millions of years, they evolved one sacred purpose: constant motion across barren seas. Glowing filaments thread the sand, veins of chemical fire in eternal night. Have you ever wondered if geology dreams through living proxies? These mats pump gases that lighten the colossal mass, propelling drifts over vast plains. Predators, prey, architects, all depend on this hidden heartbeat. What seemed monstrous chaos now shines purposeful, nature's deep alchemy. Swells as horror recedes, revealing logic in the abyss. Zoom out from alien guts to oceanic vastness transformed. Envision the mat's dominion, sprawling carpets thicker than forests, exhaling methane in rhythmic bursts. Symbiotic bacteria trade energy for shelter, clusters pulsing in unison like a colossal lung. They orchestrate nutrient cycles, whirlpools drawing sustenance from afar through porous veins. Can microbes command mountains in silent conspiracy? Filaments extend tendrils upward, feeding surface pioneers with dissolved riches. Tunnelers tap these roots, mucus laced with mat enzymes for unbreakable bonds. Float miners exhale back, bubbles carrying signals to deepen the pact. The dune migrates with intent, chasing fertile currents guided by chemical compasses. Mild mystery lingers in their wordless communion, life as one. Feel the emotional revelation, from dread to reverence for this collective organism. Apex burrowers guard mat borders, scythes pruning invaders that threaten the flow. Parasites recycle wastes, injecting enzymes that hasten decomposition into fuel. How does such interdependence bloom in isolation's cradle? Generations flash in the glow, mutants rising to perfect the engine. Collapses become opportunities, mats surging to fill voids with fresh growth. The structure stabilizes, then shifts anew, propelled by internal winds. Horror transmutes to wonder at evolution's masterpiece. Questions stir. Is this Earth's hidden superorganism? Broader vistas beckon, dunes dotting abyssal horizons. Picture the dunes' innards alive with purpose, chambers humming chemical symphonies. Microbial queens brood spores, dispersing via bubble rafts to rival sands. Architects reinforce above, unaware puppets of subterranean will. Isn't this the pinnacle of adaptation, motion as metabolism? Gases buoy flanks, easing slides over rocky graves. Surface life blooms richer, fed by upwelling plumes from the core. Night accelerates drifts, mats feverishly pumping against stagnation. Echoes of ancient oceans whisper in their chemistry, survivors of cataclysms past. Subtle dread fades into cosmic poetry, unity from diversity. The landscape lives, breathing secrets of endurance. Deeper into the transformation, witness mergers of dunes in symbiotic frenzy. Mats bridge gaps, filaments fusing like neural synapses across divides. Hybrid networks emerge stronger, pulsing unified migrations. What eons forged such merger mastery in the deep? Buried ecosystems integrate species blending in genetic bonfires. Parasites evolve dual loyalties, shuttling between former foes. The new behemoth surges forward, devouring barren expanses. Awe deepens at scale, kilometers of living geology on the move. Emotional tide turns, terror to triumph of life's logic. Vast plains unfold ahead, promising endless revelation. Zoom to the macro miracle. Dune trains spanning trenches, chains of symbiotic giants. Leading mat scout via spore clouds, signaling kin to follow fertile paths. Trailing one's heel wakes, seeding recolonization in sterile scars. Does intelligence emerge from bacterial brains? Currents bend to their propulsion, eddies harvesting distant nutrients. Predatory herds migrate internally, culling excess for efficiency. Bioluminescent maps chart progress, fire trails in the void. Evolution's hand guides gently here, selection favoring harmony. Curiosity peaks. What alien parallels on distant worlds? The living landscape endures, masterpiece of motion. Now grasp the revelation's scope. Dunes as planetary pulse hidden beneath waves. Microbial engines cycle elements eternally, oxygen voids filled by ingenuity. Architects above thrive oblivious, sustained by core's bounty. How profound the shift from nightmare to necessity. Collisions birth megastructures, fusions defying gravity's crush. Surface beauty rests on buried purpose, glows tracing vital flows. Night's hunts fuel the furnace, digestion powering dawn drifts. Mild horror resolves into harmonious dread, beauty born of balance. Ponder undiscovered fleets shifting silently. The dune transforms perception, life conquering stasis. As we surface from the core, the living landscape imprints eternal awe. Constant motion ensures survival, biomes self-replicating across abyssal wastes. Feel the pull of unknowns, veils lifting on oceanic enigmas. What other symbioses propel Earth's hidden realms? Evolution whispers of infinities, where cooperation conquers chaos. Dunes roam purposeful, sentinels of deep wisdom. Gaze upon their golden crests anew, seeing beating hearts within. Reverence lingers, mystery mildly haunting still. They redefine home as horizon perpetual. Life's grand design pulses on, inviting endless wonder. Ascend now to the endless drift, where roaming dunes etch Earth's hidden heartbeat across abyssal expanses. These wandering sea mountains traverse millennia, silent pilgrims reshaping submarine realms with golden wakes. They carve canyons and plains, swallowing wrecks in sandy tombs only to exhume relics for eternity. Life within pulses eternal, self-replicating biomes defying stagnation's grasp. Have you felt the ocean's slow pulse, indifferent to fleeting lives above? Microbial engines drive their odyssey, gases buoying colossal forms over barren voids. Ecosystems rebirth in their passage, chaos birthing order anew. Philosophical wonder stirs, instability as cradle for infinite adaptation. Mild horror lingers in their vast indifference, beauty veiling cosmic ruthlessness. Gaze upon the drift, and sense infinities astir. Envision a dune's epical journey, spanning trenches like nomadic empires of old. Leading edges probe currents, chemical scouts charting fertile horizons ahead. Trailing scars heal slowly, pioneers recolonizing sterile graves with fervent zeal. What ancient imperatives propel such purposeful wanderings in the deep? Collisions merge titans, symbiotic fusions pulsing stronger into the gloom. Buried worlds integrate, species blending in genetic symphonies of survival. Apex guardians patrol flanks, scythes culling stragglers to streamline the mass. Bioluminescent trails mark paths, comet tails in oceanic night. Emotional awe swells at resilience's triumph, motion mocking mortality. Broader ecologies link, dunes seeding distant vents with wandering kin. Feel the haunting poetry of their pilgrimage, dunes as Earth's veiled arteries. They cycle nutrients eternally, voids filled by relentless propagation. Shipwrecks entomb within, time capsules whispering of surface folly long forgotten. Isn't it chilling how geology nurtures life in slow-motion cataclysm? Submersible glimpses capture drifts reshaping canyons overnight, golden waves claiming stone. Fossils compress in layers, sedimentary sagas of bygone eras preserved. Internal wars echo faintly, colonies clashing for dominance in granular realms. Evolution accelerates here, generations flashing across vast drifts. Mystery veils their faint calls, substrate songs beyond human ken. The seafloor awakens, pulsing with purpose profound. Picture dune trains chaining horizons, interconnected realms drifting in unison. Leading mats exhale beacons, summoning stragglers across kilometer voids. Mergers birth megastructures, lattices of life defying pressures crush. How does such scale emerge from microbial whispers? Predatory herds migrate internally, culling excess for migratory efficiency. Surface architects reinforce crests, oblivious to core directives below. Night hastens paces, internal winds whipping sands into frenzied advance. Echoes of hydrothermal kin resonate, similar oases fueled by chemical fire. Subtle dread mingles with reverence, adaptation's uncanny grace. Questions swirl. Do they sense planetary rhythms in current flows? Zoom out to cosmic perspective, dunes embodying life's boundless ingenuity. Instability forges homes eternal, horizons as havens perpetual. They link barren expanses, mobile corridors for abyssal wanderers. What parallels lurk on Europa's icy dunes? Alien drifts awaiting discovery. Human probes glimpse their glows, footage haunting in alien splendor. Wakes bloom life anew, sterile scars greening with recolonizing swarms. Philosophical chill descends. Even chaos cradles creation's spark. Mild horror resolves into harmonious wonder, motion as life's essence. Emotional tide peaks, reverence for oceanic enigmas unveiled. Ponder undiscovered fleets shifting silently worldwide. Now grasp their ecological symphony, dunes as planetary pulse beneath waves. Microbial mats orchestrate cycles, oxygen deserts conquered by chemic might. Architects thrive sustained by buried bounty, unity from diversity profound. Isn't evolution's logic breathtaking, turning curse to cosmic canvas? Collisions spawn hybrids, pulsing networks defying entropy's pull. Surface beauty blooms from internal toll, glows tracing vital migrations. Night hunts fuel furnaces, digestion powering dawnward drifts. Subterranean communications hum, neural fires guiding grand processions. Curiosity ignites for veiled variance in polar deeps. The endless drift endures, testament to tenacity unbound. Imagine cresting a ridge atop the beast, abyssal vistas unfolding in bioluminescent splendor. Herds leap between kin dunes, nomadic waves chasing nutrient plumes eternal. Forms blur beauty and brutality. Fins fuse to sails for driftward leaps. Does stability stifle while motion ignites evolutionary fire? Horror fades to awe at life's relentless reinvention here. Sterile voids haunt wakes, yet swift rebirth defies despair. Dunes whisper of infinities, where adaptability knows no bounds. Scientists speculate vast undiscovered armadas, reshaping seafloors unseen. Emotional pull tugs, humility before such slow grandeur. Gaze deeper, and mysteries multiply in drifting dark. As the dune fades into gloom perpetual, its pilgrimage imprints soul-deep wonder. These moving mountains redefine resilience, proving life conquers unconquerable voids. Feel the subtle dread of abyssal unknowns, veils thin yet tantalizing. What other drifters propel hidden oceanic heartbeats? Evolution's saga unfolds in sands, symphony of suspense unending. They remind us, ocean floors stir never truly still, alive with purpose veiled. Beachcomb next time, ponder pilgrims below weaving fates. Haunting beauty lingers, revelation wrapped in enigma mild. Life on endless drift, eternal ode to adaptation's art. Stare into the deep, and it stares back, shifting secrets eternal.